Hey, it's Ben. I am reaching out to you in the midst of pain and heartbreak and anger, confusion, overwhelm, as yet another black man dies at the hands of law enforcement, crying out that they can't breathe. And as protesters flood our cities, as looting and flames break out, as our president chose to clear out peaceful protesters with tear gas and riot police to take a photo op in front of a church with a Bible in hand to say that everything's going to be okay. In the midst of all this, I'm actually going to invite you to join me. I have three specific invitations, and the first is going to seem a little counterintuitive. The first invitation I have for you is to join me in praise, that the God we serve will not be manipulated by cheap political tactics. Never has been, never will. God is too big for that foolishness, and God's heart is too busy being drawn towards God's people who are crying out for justice. That's what the scriptures testify to, if our president would open that Bible and read it. So I invite you to join me in praising the God who is too big for manipulation. And the truth about our God is that God's heart is drawn towards God's people. The second invitation I want to make is to invite you to join me in confession. I confess that I have not known what to do. I have not known how to speak. I confess that my silence functions to be complicit in a racist and unjust society. I confess that I am a person of privilege solely due to the color of my skin and the community into which I was born. I confess all these things to God because I want to be real about my circumstances and about the circumstances in this world, and also so I can be set free to serve. I do not need to burden anyone with my guilt and my shortcomings. I invite you to consider what you might need to confess. Maybe it's judgment. Maybe it's despair. And my prayer is that you would experience God's grace and God's freedom so that together we can discern our next steps, which is the third invitation, discernment, discerning what to do next. Tomorrow is Wednesday, June 3rd. Normally at First Presbyterian Church in Beacon, we do a Bible study at 7 p.m. We're going to put that on hold for 1 week, and we are going to spend a time of prayer and discernment. Maybe you want to discern how to speak with your kids about this. Maybe you want to discern whether you need to head to the nearest city and join your voices in crying out for justice. Maybe you need to discern about letting go of anger that you might have against particular communities and actually how you might listen to them, hear their perspectives. I don't have a strategy. I don't have an action plan. But I have a clear sense that I am called. And I invite you to join me in praise, in confession, in discernment. May it be so. Amen.